Roar, young lions, roar. Roar, young lions, roar. Viva SACP, viva. Viva COSATU, viva. Viva SADCO, viva. Siyabonga kakhulu. Thank you very much, comrades. Can I request that we take our seats and start our program officially? We are going to try very hard that it's not a long program. We know that there is a long day that is coming tomorrow, so we will really have to be considerate in our program. My name is Nomagugu Smelane. I'm going to be your co-program director, together with Comrade Maggie Governor. Comrade Max, we will take turns. I wish to greet the leadership. In front of us, we will indicate who we have with us. Of course, from the province, the delegation of the leadership of KwaZulu-Natal is led by Comrade Chair, Comrade Siboni Soduma. The delegation of the African National Congress, NEC, is led by Comrade Besani, but we will introduce all the comrades that are here with us. I then request that we stand. Those of us males take off our hats if our religion allows us to do so, because we are now getting into the national anthem. Are we ready with the national anthem? Thank you. Can we start? Okay, it's a technical glitch. It's coming up now.
To come together and united we shall stand. Let us live and strive for freedom in South Africa, our land.
Thank you very much. We may be seated. Our next item is the Interfaith prayer. I will request Reverend Njogomo, who will be giving us, can you please come up? For the Islamic faith, we have Hafiz Fuzail Sufi. Jewish, we have Rabbi Gilad Friedman. For the Hindu, we have Pandit Benimadu. I only see the Christian faith. We will start though. Oh, okay.
Masithandaze. Egameni loyise, egameni lonyana, nasegameni lomoya oyingcwele. Wena Thixo wethu umthathu. Kusemalanga Thixo wethu. Kusemalanga nzulu yemfihlakalo. Ubonga uThixo moya oyingcwele senza umfuziselo wabelela ukuthula kubusuku obudlulileyo. Wasigcina wasilondoloza kwada kwasanga lemini yanamhlanje. Asimbonanga kuThixo njengawe. Ngoba wena Thixo wethu usilondolozile wasithwala nasendleleni saze sazofika kuyo lendlu yakho. Siyakubongoza Thixo wethu. Siyakucenga moya oyingcwele. Hlelo senje njalo ke malusolungileyo ungasishina ngalo mzuzu. Themba limba sinalo malusolungileyo. Nguwe kuphela ithemba lethu. Silapha Thixo wethu ngokumenywa nguwe. Sasingazi Thixo namandla ngalomzuzu ngalemini sabe sime kule ndawo. Ngoba nguwena ungu-Alpha ungu-Omega. Usisiqalo nesiphelo sempilo zethu. Yolonto Thixo wethu amaxesha ngamaxesha umzuzu nomzuzu sihleli silenza likhulu igama lakho. Xa singena ke malusolungileyo sicela ubukho bakho phakathi kwalendlu. Inkonzo yakho le moya oyingcwele. Uba singayiqala singamemanga kuwe, singakucelanga Thixo ubahlala nathi. Sabe senze iphuthe elikhulu moya oyingcwele. Sawuphambuka endleleni, senje njalo siyakucela. Siyakubongoza malusolungileyo. Nazi inkokheli Thixo wethu zombutho wesizwe malusolungileyo. Kisondela Thixo wethu phambi kwetrone yakho nazo moya oyingcwele. Ngexesha lokukhokhela kwazo moya namandla leziphithiphithi. Sisondela nombutho wabazali bethu, umbutho wokhokho bethu moya oyingcwele. Hlala nawo malusolungileyo ngalomzuzu Thixo wami. Ndiza phambi kobuso bakho nefamily yakwa Pravin Thixo wethu. Mhlawumbi Thixo namandla ngokuwakho umthu omkhulu bakhe bakusola. Baxolele benziwe Thixo wethu ukukudonsa komuntu wenyama Thixo namandla. Ndisondela phambi kobuso bakho Thixo wethu ndithandaza ngomlomo Thixo namandla. Mhlawumbi ubukhe waphuma ukunqambi kuwo Thixo namandla. Kodwa xa ndisondela kuwe ndikucela ndikubongoza ndikuthandaza nzendlala phambi kobuso bakho. Fihla ubuso bakho ezonweni zam Thixo wami. Cime Thixo wethu izikrexo zam. Uve nje ukutahuzisa nokucela kwami Thixo namandla. Ngoba ebudeni bemini Thixo wami ndehle ndenyuka ndithetha nabantu abahlukene. Ndikhe ndaphunyuka Thixo nomadinga amahle. Ndiyakubongoza ngalomzuzu uhlala nathi uzungasishiyi. Xa ilifu Thixo wethu lisingongile usizile usikhungethile. Xa sijonge ezantsi Thixo wethu sikhombisa inhloko moya namandla. Ukufa kusongamele. Hlala nale nkonzo Thixo wethu nabantu abaza kuyiqhuba uyilawule uyiphathwe nguwe Thixo wethu ususe thina ususe bona phambi kwethu. Athi nomuntu Thixo namandla unyulwe nguwe uzawuvula ilizwi lakho Thixo wethu uhlale encameni empilweni lakhe. Umfihle ngoba siyamazi Thixo wethu unyana womuntu ngumntwana womuntu. kwaye sazinehambo zakhe, kodwa Thixo wethu sebenzisa yena abe ngumpopho welizwi lakho. Sive wena uthetha nathi ngayo Yesu Kristu inkosi yethu. Amen.
In the name of God, most compassionate, most merciful, I greet you the greetings of Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. May the peace, mercy and blessings of Almighty God be upon one and all. I read to you from the Holy Quran, from chapter 57, verse 20, when Almighty God says, "Know well that the worldly life is but a play and an amusement, and a show of beauty, an exchange of boastful claims between you, and a competition of increasing riches and children. All this is like a rain, the growth of which attracts the farmers. Then it withers, and you see it turning yellow. Then it becomes straw. And in the hereafter, there's a grievous punishment for those who were the wrongdoers, and forgiveness from God, and God's pleasure for those who are righteous. The worldly life is nothing but a material of delusion. Compete each other in proceeding towards forgiveness from your Lord, and to paradise, the width of which is the sky and the earth. It has been prepared for those who believe in God and his messengers. That is the bounty of God. He gives it to whomsoever he wills, and God is the Lord of the great bounty. No calamity befalls the earth or your own selves, but it has been predestined in a book before we bring it into being. Indeed, this is easy for God, so that you may neither grieve on what has escaped you, nor over-exult on what has been given to you. And God does not love any self-admirer over proud." We pray to Almighty God that the dedication, the commitments, and the sacrifices of our dearly departed comrade remains in the annals of South African history. And may his commitment and may his sacrifices and may his contributions always remain and serve as an inspiration for the future generations to come. And we pray to the Almighty that God grants his family ease and comfort and lots of patience. In the words of the Holy Quran, once again, Almighty God states, "O contented soul, return to your Lord, well pleased and well pleasing. Enter into the company of our chosen servants and enter into our glorious paradise."
מי יעלה בהר השם ומי יקום במקום קודשו, נקי כפיים ובר לבב, אשר לא נשא לשווא נפשי ולא נשבע למרמה. Who may ascend the mountain of the Lord, and who may stand in his holy place? He that has clean hands and a pure heart, who has not set his desire upon vanity and hasn't sworn deceitfully. O Lord, full of compassion, who dwellest on high, God of forgiveness, art merciful, slow to anger and abounds in loving kindness, grants pardon of transgressions, nearness of salvation, and perfect rest beneath the shadow of thy divine presence, in the exalted places among the holy and the pure, who shine as the brightness of the firmament. To Pravin Gordhan, who hath gone to his eternal home, we beseech thee, O Lord of compassion, remember unto him for goods all the meritorious and pious deeds which he wrought while on earth, and open unto him the gates of righteousness and light, the gates of pity and grace. O shelter him forevermore under the cover of thy wings, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. May he rest in peace, and let us say Amen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Namaste. Let us all bow our heads and come together in prayer as we gather here to pay tribute to Sri Pravin Gordhan, a true son of South Africa. Today, not only do we stand united in our grief, but also in deep gratitude for the legacy he has left behind. Let us offer prayers for his family during this time of immense loss, that they may find comfort, solace, and peace. We also pray for his colleagues that they may draw strength from the remarkable service and dedication he has shown to our beloved nation. In the midst of our sorrow, may we all find courage and hope in the extraordinary contributions he made to build a better South Africa, guiding us to continue his vision for the future. We will bow our heads. Om Bhurabhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. God, the giver of life, the remover of pains and sorrows, bestower of happiness, and creator of the universe, you are most luminous, pure, and adorable. We meditate on you, who inspires and guides our intellect in the right direction. Om Yam Medham Devaganaha Pitarascha Upasate Tayamam Adya Medaya Agne Medhavinam Kuru. God, bestow upon us the superior wisdom which our parents, elders, enlightened persons, and ancestors had revered. May we be illuminated with that same wisdom. Na jayate mriya deva kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita vanabhuya ajo nityaha shashvatoyam purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. The soul is neither born nor does it ever die. It has not come into being, nor will it cease to be. It is unborn, eternal, everlasting, and ancient. It is not destroyed when the body is destroyed. Om Dhyau Shantirantariksham Shanti Prithivi Shantirapaha Shantir Oshadaya Shanti Vanaspataya Shantir Vishwe Devaha Shantir Brahma Shanti Sarvam Shanti Shantireva Shanti Sama Shantiredhi. May there be peace in the heavenly regions and peace in the atmosphere. May peace reign on our earth. May there be peace in the healing waters and peace in the healing plants and life-giving trees and forests. May there be peace in the celestial regions and peace in the one supreme God. May everything in the universe be filled with peace. May peace alone prevail. May this peace come to me. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste.
Thank you very much to our religious leaders for the prayer. We are sure that the intention of the prayers were to comfort the family, and we believe the family is indeed being comforted. I'd like to welcome everyone to this memorial service, whose objective really is to honor and celebrate the life, times, and the legacy of Comrade Comrade Pravin Gordhan. But I do want to specifically and especially welcome and appreciate the presence of Comrade Antivani, Thank you very much for coming. Anisha and Priyesha and your partners and the whole family, we see that the contingent is quite big. We really appreciate the fact that you are part of this memorial service of the African National Congress to celebrate his life. You know, yes, we will cry. We do have to cry because we loved him. But in essence, we are here, Comrade Chair and Comrade Leadership, to celebrate the life of Comrade PG because he contributed a lot to the struggle of South Africa. During this sad time and during the sad and solemn times like this, in isiZulu we say, umuthi omude or umuthi omkhulu uwile. Indeed, a giant tree has fallen. So that is why we are here today to celebrate his life. We don't want to be very long and speak as program directors because we do, like I said earlier on, have to actually release the family because there is going to be a long day tomorrow. So I wish to call the chairperson of the ANC in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, Comrade Usiboniso Duma, to come and give us welcoming and a tribute. Comrade Mchunu. Hawe tambo Hawe tambo tambo
Sishongoba sesifikile thina bafana bonke sekuzokhala ibhazuka mandla. Long live ANC, long live SACP, long live COSATU, long live SANCO, long live. Roar, young lions, roar! Roar, young lions, roar! Athinta abafazi. Yona ubanjani yokufa finish. Thank you so much, program directors, Comrade Nomagugu Smelane, who's the deputy chair in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, and Comrade Meki, for ensuring that you drive this program. I'm sure whoever thought of you sharing this program never thought of the synonym because you are one and the same component. It's just that you only differed in terms of age. They are both strong, core, very robust, and they'll just take you out of the process if you don't behave correctly. In our midst, we've already been told there is the platoon of NEC members who are led by Comrade Sibongile Besane, who's going to talk later on. I'm sure you've also seen that Comrade who served diligently with Comrade PG, Comrade Ndosi is amongst those comrades. The good doctor has just entered in. The NEC members who've already joined the family who are not here today are going to be here tomorrow. In our midst, we have REC Chair of eThekwini, Comrade Mpemba, Comrade Nopala, Comrade Msutu, and the chairs of other regions like Umzala Nxumalo. In our midst, we have got the veterans, and on the right of Comrade Besane, you've got our core veterans who are going to talk later on. Comrade Matsingwana, I tried a joke when I entered in the holding room, saying I greeted revolutionary Comrade Mac Maharaj, and I just make a joke that, why is he growing younger and younger? I said, Comrade Duma, please stop it right there. You are telling a lie, just withdraw it right now. I then withdraw profusely because it doesn't want that to be recognized that way. But there is a family in our midst that we have worked closely, ma'am. Thank you so much for driving this process. It's a painful trajectory that happened to the country at large, to the ANC in general, and to the family in particular. And the family has already felt some pain. We are here just to lift those pain. We're here to put the bandages. There is also the COSATU leadership, Comrade Mtombeni, Comrade Ndosi in our midst as well. Guest, the Fourth Estate. In fact, I could just want to recognize the essence of this event that is taking place, because if you could just think about non-racial character, this event is amongst those where the true reflection of a non-racial society could be built upon the strength and what Comrade PG fought for. I'm sure we'll be delighted just to see this audience. We could just build from this experience. We want to thank the family, we want to thank NEC leadership that the President has accorded and afforded to this family an official funeral, which is befitting for Comrade PG and his caliber. It's amongst other things. On behalf of the ANC in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, we wish to express our revolutionary appreciation to the Gordhan family. For it highlighted, we thank you wholeheartedly for allowing members of the ANC and alliance partners to pay their last respect to the son of the soil. We can only imagine the severity of the pain that the entire family is experiencing at a loss so great that no one can hear and no one can also bear the heat of it. Judging by accounts given by fellow comrades, diplomats, and ordinary members of our society, indeed, over the past few days, it is clear that the whole country has been shaken by the departure of Comrade PG. The apartheid masters never imagined that today we'll stand here and talk freely about one of the giants, about one of the true cadre of our revolution, about the Robben Island prisoner who apartheid thought he was not strong enough, he was not South African enough to lead because of his race, because of his color, because of his background. Nevertheless, he joined the ANC, the gigantic movement, and at some point in time, he contributed in this liberation movement. Despite the harassment and banning orders, Comrade Pravin Gordhan remained fearless. He is credited for the success of many student activism, rent boycotts, and national stay away of workers. All activities that he organized sent shivers down the spine of apartheid ministers, as I can have already highlighted. On our guests, it is not our intention to dwell on negative comments made by forces opposed to the ANC in various social media platforms. But family, rest assured, whenever a giant who has just passed our earth has done a great job, in the process he was bound to offend either the system, either those who are aggressive and antagonistic towards change. So just understand that amongst us and for us, he will remain a fighter, will remain a diplomat, he will remain a strong character who has contributed solely on the transformation of the country. Our main task, therefore, is to expose the youth of today to the phenomenal leadership of Mr. Fixer, as was commonly known. This is the leader who touched the lives of many people, all the very core throughout his life. To the apartheid government, he was a terrorist, as I've already highlighted. That's how they will define him. And to us, he was the leader. And why you have got such par excellence character that are going to talk on behalf of the ANC and the Alliance, it is the stride and the role that he played. He has contributed, as I've already highlighted, in the ANC, the formation of Mchunu Caesar. He's a prisoner from Robben Island. He is also the former SACP leader, was elected. He also played a critical role in the UDF. So when you think about Alliance, you will find around his portrait, which his character portray as well. Others defined him as a persuader. Others defined him as a discipline in thought and in action. He's always going to write. He was always going to articulate a perspective, a fearlessness and foresight. Others will define him as a leader with ability to give and also take advice. Fellow mourners and comrades, what sadness as most is that his departure is depletion of leaders, not just for the ANC, but for our maturing democracy. And we hope we are going to tap from his wisdom even when he's no more. Yesterday, exactly at 7 p.m., we received the boat of Comrade Pravin Gordhan at the Dubai Trade Port International Cargo Terminal. We're touched by the bravery displayed by the family, in particular Yuma, and the words that we've said to the ANC is going to take us a long way. On your behalf, I could just say that you've thanked the leadership of the ANC for what they have been displayed. It's something that he deserved more than what we could do. This is the least we could do for the fellow son of KwaZulu-Natal. It is indeed unbelievable that despite malicious political attacks and untested allegations against your father, your grandfather, your uncle, you are showering all of us with love. We proclaim you as heroes of South Africa. You supported the giant whose contribution towards the creation of a democratic state will never be erased. We thank the President of the Republic already, His Excellency Matamela, for declaring his final journey as an official one, as I've already highlighted. The contribution of a well-known leaders who hail from the Indian diaspora is well documented. What is good about the history, that he has already encrypted each and every word and his details, his vision. It is well known. Whoever who comes with unsavory remarks, I'm sure history is going to deliberate and deal well with such processes. He joins Comrade Mewa, Comrade Ramgopin, that will lay to rest in 2016. Comrade Indosi remembered and highlighted to us that probably in the cohort now there are remaining 4 of them, which is something that it's painful, at least to say that Comrade Dr. Cycliffe is still around, Comrade Mpo Scott is around, Comrade Ndosi, the certain generation, and Comrade Patla represent another generation with another cadre that were developed at that point in time. He joins Comrade Dr. Monty Naika, another illustrious son of the soil, who is the descendant of the Indian diaspora as well. He recorded history agreement uniting the struggle of the Indian and African compatriots in our country, working together with Comrade Dr. Yusuf Dadu, Dr. Kluma, to record what was called 3 Doctors Pack. This brought together the struggles of the African National Congress, the Natal Indian Congress, and the Transvaal Indian Congress, and eventually creating a united front to fight apartheid. Program Director, at this stage, we wish to make a strong call to the ANC rank and file and alliance. We must close ranks before one concludes. We must be emphatic on the points that we must close ranks. Now is the epochal time of which Comrade Pravin, using his dialectic material understanding, he was going to say that the ANC must unite, the alliance must unite. Together and coherent, we need each other. This is our beloved country. This is our journey. We must close ranks and we must work together. It is befitting that you see even Comrade are still entering this hall in his honor, because he played his pivotal role. The memorial service gives us the opportunity to strengthen the solidarity amongst the people of this province. This evening we are called upon to reflect with pride on the close working relationship between Monty Naika with Inkosi Albert Luthuli. These were amongst the earliest to volunteer when Umkhonto weSizwe was formed in 1961, and were subsequently incarcerated for many years on Robben Island, as I've already highlighted. Honorable Program Directors, we must also ensure that we don't get distracted on the important task of uniting the people in order to build the most powerful province and the country socially and economically. You are all welcome. Just understand this is a hero. We are not only here to mourn, but we're also going to celebrate the victory and his stride. Thank you so much, Program Directors.
Thank you, Comrade Duma, Comrade Chair. I think well said, and we respect the fact that we are keeping to time. Before I go to the next item on the program, let me just thank. There's a whole range of people who are present, and we may not acknowledge all of you. We are trying to cover the range who are present here with us, but amongst us we have veterans, including Comrade Luthuli, Comrade Sunny Singh, Comrade Mac Maharaj, Comrade Ila Gandhi, and a whole host of veterans. We also have a range of people from outside KZN who are here in the province to mourn the passing of Comrade Pravin and to celebrate his life. So you are most welcome, and thank you for your attendance. We have amongst us business people, a whole range of them. We have academics, and I'm not going to name them because there are many, but I will give you the breadth of people who are here. We have the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, the chairperson, Derek Hanekom, who is here, members of the board, also members of the South African Airways Board who are with us, the Commissioner of the South African Revenue Services that was so dear to the heart of Comrade Pravin is with us. We have members of the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress, Comrade Beki Cele, as well as Comrade Dusani, who are amongst us. We have retired judges, retired judges Tamba Pillay, as well as Zach Yakub, who are here. We have Comrade Willies Mchunu, the convener and coordinator of the African National Congress Youth League, the convener of the African National Congress Women's League. These are the provincial ones. We have Comrade Sunny Singh that I mentioned, Comrade Ila Gandhi. The provincial chairperson of COSATU is with us. We have the provincial secretary of the South African National Civic Association. We have the representative from the South African Communist Party that Pravin served in, Yunus Karim. And of course, there's a whole host of activists. I can't name each one of you. You know who you are, drawn from every sphere of society that he was involved in. The civics, from the pharmaceutical group, I can see a range of pharmacists, the medical fraternity, teachers, lawyers, the whole range. Civic activists, former Italian Congress activists. Yes, there are a whole range of you. We have a substantial representation from the religious sector as well. Pravin was able to draw on the whole range. May have, you can see smiles in the front. He had a particular view about things, but respected everyone. And I think that was his strength. He was a unifier rather than a divider, and that is very important. So you are all welcome. We recognize you. We also see, as I'm looking, and I'm adding on as I speak, I can see former Transvaal Indian Congress and African National Congress, Prema Naidu, coming from the Naidu family, who have been involved in the struggle from, well, his whole life, and his family has been involved as well. As I see you, I'll mention you, so please forgive me if I don't single out people, because there are so many of you. But really, we are very, very glad that you're all here. Your presence indicates your appreciation and understanding of the role that Pravin has played. So this is very, very important. We also have a large contingent of members from the ANC branches. Remember when we spoke to Pravin, till his dying day he was an ANC member and supporter. And there's an entire contingent there. Thank you, comrades. I now want to go to our next speaker, and we'll say Comrade Mike Sutcliffe, somebody who has worked with Pravin in civic work when he was an academic at the University of Durban, Westville. And as we all know, Pravin was very, very strong on good governance. Mike is a governance specialist as well, assisting in this metro, the eThekwini Metro, to get things on track as part of the commitment of the renewal of the African National Congress. Mike?
Mandla. Viva PG, viva. I'm not going to waste time on leadership and leadership. We're all leaders together this evening. I want to start with really thanking the family, and it was so wonderful last night. There was the hidden hand of PG, because I'd booked a ticket months ago to go to Joburg and back, and as I came into the lounge, I didn't notice there was a whole group of people sitting there, and I went and sat down, and then suddenly I recognized Comrade Vani, because in her own right she's an activist. Saw Vidu Vidlanka, who together with Fish Superside, saw the family, Anisha, who was this 5-year-old who used to come to the campus with PG. She was born before apartheid. Prayisha, who was born after apartheid, and the rest of the family. And I was so touched there. And of course, Pravin was below us. So when Becky clearly made comments saying, counting on his fingers, the number of people who, as Bill Clinton said, have fewer days in front of them than behind them. And then he counted me as part of the thing with him, that we're still around here. I thought at least PG was saying, well, maybe there's space for us in heaven as well there. Comments, I'm going to try and be as brief as we can. We could all tell stories, and I hope we're going to strengthen the family, not just this evening, because there are wonderful leaders in front of you here who I'm sure will tell some of those anecdotes. But we must strengthen the family too in those anecdotes, those stories that we have beyond today. because he was really an amazing person. I knew him when we were all fighting the apartheid state in every form it had. And we can't get into that detail. Comrades who served in MK, young people who took up the baton and were killed, assassinated, etc., brutalized in terrible ways. The civic movement itself, without a Pravin Gordhan at that, together with the Jabus Satoli and Jorak, all of those comrades of ours who in this city did things, but they took things to a national level there. And I see Comrade Deliza MG sitting in the audience there. A person who then tested towards the later stages of the 80s, establishing a front for our movement, and particularly led by Mchunu Wesizwe here. And it was always very funny when he was a stickler for compliance, and I was chairing one of the CCLS at that stage, and PG and Comrade Billy Nair were underground at that stage, and they were these very funny, to me, they were very funny wigs. And then I'd get picked up and then taken to a place that they were at in order that we could have a board meeting, because I was the chair of it, and make sure that the financial statements could be dealt with there. And I kept saying to Comrade PG, I said, but you look so obvious that this is a wig. He says, yes, if it's a wig, they look at the hair, they won't look at the face. But Comrade, through all of that period, I thought, what do I say about today? Well, I'm sure we'll all, those of us who write a little bit or speak a bit, will talk about him, not tonight, but in other times. But I thought of 6 letters of the word Pravin, and what are the words that came to me as I saw the word Pravin? P, of course, for me was patriotic. He was a South African patriot through and through. And he believed all South Africans, all the people who lived here were patriots. But the P for me also stood as a young person who'd studied Marxism theoretically. He really epitomized what Marx saw as praxis, where you combine theory and practice. You basically make sure that you unite your thoughts and your actions. That was found, as we all knew, those of us who came to those sessions with PG, where his philosophy was organize, mobilize, conscientize. That was PG to the T. Get out there and organize. We'd begin in meetings, not with Pravin telling us what was going on, asking each one in that room, have you met people? Have you done door-to-door work? Have you done this? What are the issues that have come out? How do we mobilize people? And then how do we conscientize them? Explain to people that there are false consciousnesses that they would have. The R stands for an outstanding revolutionary. It's no accident that those comrades from the ANC who led, and its allies who led the constitution making, we didn't stop with saying we needed a political freedom. We also need economic freedom, and we still have a long way to go in terms of that. We need social freedom. There's still too many people without water and electricity, etc., and we need environmental freedom to make sure future generations look after that. But he was also someone who said we must renew ourselves. We must look in the mirror each day and say, am I renewing? Am I making sure that we're creating a better country here and not doing things that shouldn't be done? The A stands for me, the most appreciative person I knew. He appreciated everyone, even those who had different ideologies. You didn't see him holding useless press conferences. I remember in SAA when he was struggling to get it reborn, he met with workers. Most people don't know he met with all the workers and congratulated them and said rebuild that institution there. But of course, you'll hear other those who chatterboxes saying other stories about that. The V for me stands for versatile. How can you have a person who's a chemist actually being a commissioner of SARS? I still, every year I do that SARS return. I swear at that PG who reformed that institution. But he did it because he was versatile. He could say, where do we pick up the spear in whatever context we're in? The I stands for a couple of things. It stands for you need to apply intelligence, not in terms of degrees, but when you deal with things, you must have the competency to do things. Most importantly, you need integrity. If you don't have integrity, you won't get anywhere. And the point is that you will always find him doing integrity, not talking it as much. And then the N stands for Namaste, where he would bow to others, as we often bow to those who are leaders. And I remember Comrade I.C. Muir, we used to travel this province a lot in the early days of the legislature here, and I.C. used to have his trinity in his mind, and he'd often reflect on it and talk about it. And it was a trinity of Tawheed, where people of Islamic faith would talk of the oneness, of Ahimsa. Those of you who are of the Hindu faith would talk about respect at that level. And those who are more of an African faith would talk of Ubuntu, humanity, the oneness of us all. And Pravin was all of those. He himself made sure that we united. So I'll end off with, for me, a little bit of the epitaph, which was said by Karl Marx in 1835. He said, if we have chosen the position in life in which we can most of all work for humankind, no burdens can bow us down, because they are sacrifices for the benefit of all. Then we shall experience no petty, limited, selfish joy, but our happiness will belong to everyone, to millions. The deeds will live on quietly, but perpetually be at work, and over our ashes will be the hot tears of noble people. That was Pravin. We're all shocked at the fact that he's passed on, but in passing on, we reflect on what he did and say, what is it that we can also do now? Thanks, comrades.
Thanks, Comrade Mike. Remember, the ANC is watching you and assisting the renewal in Ethekwini. Thank you. Our next speaker, comrades, is someone well known to us. Used to be a premier of the province, but going beyond that, further in time, he was active in the trade union movement and in the peace-making in the province. And this is where he had occasion to work with Comrade Pravin. So let me call upon Comrade Willies Mchunu to give us a message.
Mandla. Mandla. Viva Comrade Pichi, viva. Viva the spirit of Comrade Pichi, viva. The Gordhan family, leadership of the ANC, led by Comrade Pesani, which encompasses the provincial leadership as well, led by Comrade Mchunu, leadership of the Alliance, members of the ANC, all other leadership positions present here today, many other comrades who were leaders during the struggle times and activists. I salute most importantly those who struggled within the UDF, and in particular the NIC, which I wasn't able to honor the invitation of during the commemoration. Even though this is a very sad and solemn occasion indeed, but I do want to say I feel very privileged to stand at a function of such a great comrade as Comrade PG. This is not to be taken for granted, and not all the time do we get opportunities to directly talk to families of our leaders when they pass on. I want to therefore say to the family, our sincere condolences to yourselves we know that you have certainly been shattered by this incident of the passing of Comrade PG. But I'm certain that you will agree with us when we say our presence here today is also testimony to the shock that some of us experienced when getting this news. Therefore, we are with you in this pain. We share your pain. Yours, of course, will be much greater than ours, but we do share yours as well. I'm also certain that we could add that you as family are probably feeling very painful at this stage when in the middle of grieving for the loss of your loved one, you have to witness and bear the pain of the mudslinging and vilification that is taking place in the public space. But we wish to assure you and urge you to remain strong. We assure you that this is the harsh realities of politics. Of course, it's not going to be easy. But Comrade PG has been resilient right through his life in the political space. In many instances, Comrade PG suffered in the hands of the then government during the struggle period. But he was resilient even then, did not succumb. He also did not surrender. I'm certain that we would be correct to say even now, in death, his good name, his image, his integrity will define all the intentions of those who are wishing for the destruction of his goodwill, his good deeds, and image. All of that should drown in the public defense that is being mounted by all those who are peace-loving South Africans who know what it was like for Comrade PG to suffer during apartheid, but also to now suffer this tarnishing of his image by people who should not, because those are people he liberated. Of course, the ANC has a duty and a responsibility to be in the forefront of the defense of the image of Comrade PG. Because those who are attacking Comrade PG are selectively choosing what they want to use. They are saying nothing about his credentials of struggle. They're silent about that. They're silent about this contribution to the many good programs of governance, but are choosing to to attack what I would like to refer to as the direction of the ANC in government. I'm saying this to the family because as a family, much as you feel the pain, but I'm certain that you should understand that that attack on Comrade PG is not an attack on an individual. It's an attack on the direction of the ANC. Because Comrade PG in government has always served the government led by the ANC and led in line with the policies adopted by the ANC and different presidents within, under whom he served were his immediate supervisors, and they knew exactly what he was doing. And therefore it is an attack on the ANC. And I'm sure this family, please find solace on that the attack on him is also an attack on all of us, because he did not represent just himself, represented us as the ANC. But more than that, he represented the aspirations of society, aspirations of the country, and that can be seen by the overwhelming support that he received on many occasions, including now. There is no amount of mudslinging that will undo his good work. No amount of vindication that will undo his good work. As the provincial chairperson of the ANC was saying, the outpouring grief of the people, but also accompanied by praises, including the presence of so many comrades here on a weekday, which is one of those difficult days, to pull together such a big non-racial crowd of comrades, is testimony exactly to the sentiment of society and the sentiment of the ANC. I did not know why comrades in the ANC offered me the position to come and say condolences to the family. But of course I agreed, and I agreed because I also had a unique relationship with Comrade PG, which started from how we met. For a very long time, I did not know Comrade PG as Pravin, for quite a long time. Because the way we met was an arrangement by a comrade who I was working with in the ANC then, but who had also been a trade unionist, to Comrade Alpheus Mteto. I was working with Comrade Alpheus on some of the Jorak that Comrade Mike was talking about, Jorak programs in St. Gwendolyn's and Nazareth. I was staying there at that time. The land issues of the Nazareth people. So when Comrade Alpheus came out of banning, the UDF was just about to be formed. And his attempt at getting me to attend together with him at Michel's Plain failed. And the reason it failed is those who worked with us that time remembered, will know that I worked for a union whose policy discouraged us organizers participating in political activities. That led to Comrade Alpheus getting Comrade PG to meet with me, to persuade me to participate in the structures of the UDF after it had been formed. That persuasion was very difficult to resist from the pressure of Comrade PG. But I knew him as Mike, because I met him as Mike at the University Howard College, and he was wearing a wig because he was underground then. But after that, it led to myself and Comrade Schutz Naito being delegated by the UDF structures to form the Natal Advice Centers Association, which then was mainly involved in rural activism, the mobilization of communities in the rural areas. That's how, therefore, I came about to participate against the policy of my union then, which was Mao. Therefore, I do owe PG partly some of my political involvement, and including many other things I could speak of, but I'm told, I see Comrade Maggie here at the corner of my eye. But nonetheless, we cherished moments with Comrade PG, we cherished discussions and debate in his robust and combative style, which I'm sure many of his detractors are scared of, because he was very combative when debating. So I would only want to say, family, thank you for sharing Comrade PG with us. May his soul rest in peace. Long live the undying spirit of Comrade PG, long live. Thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Willies. And I think that, although I was intimidating him a bit, because we do want to have the program moving quickly, the fact that Comrade Willies was speaking for a long time wasn't because he was, being ill-disciplined. It's just that there was so much to speak of. And I think all of us are in that situation. And this meeting, good as it is, and we must thank the African National Congress for that, is obviously not enough. And there will be many other, I'm sure, people are talking about other memorials, other gatherings where we will share more. This story is not a story that you can even tell a quarter of in a meeting such as this one. We want to also recognize the presence of Joe Pashla, Comrade Joe Pashla, NEC member, but somebody who was a student at the time that Pravin was organizing all of us, and Joe was one of those at med school. Then we also have amongst us, now former ambassador, Dennis Lomo, but was a student activist also who worked under the auspices of people like Pravin at the University of Durban Westville, and of course there are many others, as we see, and we will talk of them. Our next speaker is somebody, and I must also recognize the families of the Mir, the former secretary, the late secretary of the Natal Indian Congress, Farooq Mir, as well as the family of Jerry Kovadia, a vice president of the Natal Indian Congress, who are with us as well. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is somebody who's a source of amazement to everyone, admiration, and the works. Where he gets the energy from, where he gets what keeps him going is something we'd all like to know. But this is Comrade Mac Maharaj, a lifetime friend and comrade of Pravin. We all know him, another taskmaster like Pravin, and somebody who worked very closely with Pravin, both above ground and underground, and I'm sure he has a lot to tell us. Comrade Mac.
Comrade Vani, Anisha and her partner, Trisha and your partner. I am honored to have been invited by the ANC to speak at this memorial of Comrade Pravin Gordhan. Please bear with me when I don't address the others, because at my age I forget names, so I can't refer to each of them. I know their positions, but I've forgotten their names. Though the demands of the democratic era on Pravin's services took him away from Durban, he remained at heart a Durbanite, and he chose to be cremated here in Durban. I like to think that he made this choice because he never drifted away from the community where he cut his teeth in the struggle. It is here that his lived experience instilled in him the need to mobilize the communities to organize themselves on the basis of the national struggle for liberation, that it was critically linked with the everyday plight of the communities. He and a group of activists mastered the art of mobilizing while ensuring that the repressive regime would find it difficult to close down their activities. Their success inspired a mushrooming of community-based organizations around the country, a proliferation which eventually gave solid substance to the formation and actions of the UDF. Communities engaged in their own seemingly localized actions found themselves as part of a larger family of resistance that engulfed the country. It is in this environment that Pravin grew to become an activist, an organizer, and a leader. I am prone to emphasize that it is the people who are the makers of history, that our primary task is to mobilize and channel the people's energy to bring about social change. Pravin's character was molded in an era when survival in the struggle demanded that you remained part of the crowd and avoided publicity that many in today's South Africa court. Pravin would readily acknowledge that the struggle made him into who he became. And at the same time, it is also true that he played an indelible role in shaping the struggle and the conduct of the struggle. The veritable outpourings of messages of support and appreciation from within South Africa and across the globe transcend the years of vituperation, personal humiliation, and racial insults that were showered on him. Together, these messages, which continue to come even today, are a testimony of the high regard in which Pravin is held. They are a store of information about PG that will need to be mined in order to get a true measure of his legacy. Let us hope that this will in some way provide comfort to his wife Vani, his daughters Anisha and Prisha, and the extended family, for they have been an inseparable part of making PG into the national figure in the struggle against apartheid and the development of our democracy. Often, leading public figures are mythologized. We live in an age when it is becoming increasingly possible to see the man inside the myth. And this is important, colleagues, because unless such figures are seen as human beings like you and me, their legacy will be reduced to the role that we admire, but we do not see ourselves in it. We need today, instead, role models that fuel our aspirations and help us see the potential inside each of us. What is good about the tributes is that collectively they bring out the man we would like to be, despite the foibles and frailties that each of us possess, which, by the way, is an attribute of all human beings. I don't know of a single human being who is without frailties and foibles. There is, however, a Pravin in each of us. The challenge is how to bring that out by doing things that make a difference to the lives of others. The tributes that have poured in paint an interesting picture. His many facets and attributes come to the surface in different instances and through different eyes. But let me be clear in this regard. I do not give any weight or credence to the bile and vituperation in the social media and in the statement of tin hats who think that adorning themselves in red makes them revolutionaries. Those tin hats have a different preoccupation. The current efforts of the red tin hats is opportunistic. Their pathological hatred throws out of the window the tenets of Ubuntu because PG was a core of the collective that stopped the capture of the Limpopo provincial administration by companies such as On Point Engineering. PG fought against corruption and illegality. He not only closed the taps, SARS also pursued tax liabilities against the individuals involved. And it is possible that investigations into some of those cases are continuing. And they, together with some in the ANC, hated him with a passion because until his last breath, PG would not bend. PG became the target of both these groupings. They not only sought to play the man, but invoked racist rants because he happens to be an Indian South African. We fervently hope that those who succumb to this, especially within the ANC, will find a way to look within themselves and rid themselves of these inhumane practices. This is an essential part of the renewal of the ANC. Racism and playing the man have no place in our movement. And those who fail to correct themselves should find no place in a revitalized ANC. The tributes paint a picture of PG. They paint a picture of a man consumed by his duty to the downtrodden, a fighter who understood that the people do not, through their spontaneous action, become the makers of history, that he saw the critical and necessary role of the ANC and the tripartite alliance. He understood from an early age the necessity of creating a disciplined organization that embodies the goals of freedom, non-racialism, and equality. This was the source of his loyalty to the ANC. And even though in the latter years his faith was sorely tested, despite his disappointment with the ANC and misgivings about the party's future, he continued to support and campaign for the ANC. He remained deeply concerned about the continued existence of networks of patronage and corruption embedded in parastatals. He was frustrated by the ANC's toleration of many state capture figures that remain in the leadership positions in the party, in cabinet, and in parliament. I would commend, and there are many wonderful tributes that have been paid to him, but I would commend in this regard the poignant tribute by Nkubisi Jonas, for this provides an insider account of the fight back in Treasury and the mettle of PG as a leader who was not only strategic in his outlook, but was very much a hands-on fighter, a person ready to dirty his hands. PG experienced a lonely life in two different times and two different environments. In both, he found solace because he knew that what he was doing was the right thing to do. He knew that he was on the side of the downtrodden. But he also understood that the loneliness of an underground fighter arises because a freedom fighter is often unable to lead a stable family life, is often separated from his or her loved ones. This, however, was a relatively self-imposed lifestyle in pursuit of the noble goal of freedom. The lonely space that he found himself when confronting both state capture and corruption and engaging to eliminate these reactionary tendencies created an environment where he found some of his own comrades turn against him. This time, he had his family with him. He saw the pain that visited them because of his determination to remain incorruptible, a pain visited on him and his family by some of his own colleagues. His pride and his pain are captured in parts of two poems. His pride is mirrored in an Afrikaans poem by Jan Cilia. Ek hou van 'n man wat sy man kan staan. Ek hou van 'n arm wat 'n slag kan slaan. 'n oog wat nie wiek, wat baas ek kyk, en 'n wil wat so vas soos 'n klipsteen staan. I like a man who stands as a man. I like an arm that can strike a blow, an eye that never shies away, that can pierce a crack, and a will that stands steadfast as a rock. His pain is reflected in the fragment of another poem. The water song ends by the Chilean poet Pablo Neruda, and I quote, "For my part and yours we comply, we share our hopes and winters. And we have been wounded not only by mortal enemies, but by mortal friends, and that seemed all the more bitter. But bread does not taste sweeter, nor my verse in the meantime living. We supply statistics that pain still lacks. We go on loving love, and in our blunt way, we bury the liars and live amongst the truth tellers. Hambagate, Comrade Pravin, Hambagate, Kawalamaka."
Thank you, Comrade Mac, for as always telling it like it is. It was not easy for Comrade Pravin. He was very lonely at times. Fortunately, he had the support of Vani and the family, and I think we cannot thank you enough for that, Vani. Really, you were his rock. But not easy. And despite all that, he continued to fight the good fight, something that the expectation is that all of us do the same. I think those of us who were with him when he was really ill remember that for each and every one of us, he had a message. And that message was very clear. Continue. You can't give up. This is what I expect of you. And, we have no choice but to follow what he has said. So, our next item is a gospel song by Duma Mchunu. Dumi Mchunu. And next one.
I'm singing this song because we know that the ANC is today now activating every June call. The ANC iphile ukudlula nabantu bebethi ngeziphile khona. When Obama bethu Obama Nelson Mandela left, people thought it was the end of the ANC, but namhlanje we are still here standing. And celebrate the people of Pravin. Hallelujah. Sanibona. Wandithatha wandibeka endaweni mama wandibeka mama wandithatha wandibeka kaduka wandithatha wandibeka
Phambili ngodumi phambili. Utha udumi viva ANC viva nimzwile. Nimbonile. Yes, thank you very much. Dumi, we really appreciate that. As we indicated earlier on today, we are here to celebrate the life ka Comrade PG, to celebrate what he has achieved, to celebrate his contribution to the life of the African National Congress, but to the lives of South Africans in general. Indeed, as Africans, that is what we do. When we celebrate, we sing. And it is part of what we were doing. Siyabonga kakhulu. I then now wish to move with our program, but before I do so, we wish to acknowledge Comrade Colin Coleman, who has joined us. Comrade, we just recognize now, well, we just realized now that he's part of the of us as we are here. Siyabonga kakhulu. I saw Comrade Ubongi, Sithole Mloyi, who's also the convener of the ANC Women's League in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, Siyabonga Jobe. We are now getting into the political program. We have messages on behalf of the alliance partners. SANCO, we will have Comrade Sizwe Cele, who's the provincial secretary. COSATU, we will have Comrade Tutuma, Comrade Mtombeni, who's the provincial chair. We then have SACP, which will be represented by Comrade Karim, who's a member of the Central Committee. We've agreed with the leadership that I'm giving them 4 minutes. Futhi sivumelene that I'm going to count and type them so that they are 4 minutes ngempela. So comrades, let's welcome to the stage Comrade Tucele, Comrade Sizwe Cele, Umagaye to speak to us on behalf of SANCO. Siyabonga kakhulu.
Ngingena kahle kuyisibusiso lokhu ukukhuluma emva kwendoda ethi rules are rules. uComrade uDumi uMkhokstad. Mandla. Mandla. Viva African National Congress, viva. Viva SACP, SACP, viva. Viva COSATU, COSATU, viva. Qina mhlali, mhlali, qina. Long live the undying spirit of Comrade PG, long live. Long live the undying spirit of Comrade Pravin, long live. Mandla. Phambili nabaholi abakhuthele phambili. Phambili nabaholi abathanda umphakathi phambili. Phambili nabaholi abaselfless phambili. Phansi namavila phansi. Phansi nabathanda ikhondla phansi. Phansi namaxoki phansi. Phansi nondikhetheni phansi. Mandla. Busa African National Congress, busa. Sabonga kakhulu. Program Director Noma Kuchwa, as Comrade Duma will say, I wish to humbly and exclusively greet the Gordhan family, Umama Gordhan, the kids, the Gordhan friends and relatives. Greetings to the entire leadership of the African National Congress, led by the NEC and NWC member, Comrade Bongile Pesani, and also led by Comrade Duma at a provincial level. Greetings to the leadership of the SACP, leadership of COSATU, and leadership of SANCO. Comrades, ladies and gentlemen, and children of the soil. As the South African National Civic Organization, we are here to pay tribute to the life well lived. We are here to say to the Gordhan family, Comrade Pravin had what is called one big happy family, and we are part of that family, together with you. If it wasn't so, this room will not be filled up to capacity as we speak right now. Furthermore, we are here to thank the family and God, the creator of heaven and earth, for borrowing us Comrade Pravin. Indeed, he did his fight, and he fought a good fight. He has now finished his race because he kept the faith that the people of South Africa will one day be free. And he lived as a struggling hero until that mission was accomplished. As SANCO, we relate with Pravin Gordhan because he was a leader of UDF, UDF being a civic movement. So when UDF was dissolved, its assets were handed over to SANCO. Hence, we continue to identify Comrade Pravin as a civic activist. He has done he has made a huge contribution towards the development of this country, post-1994. His deployment as a commissioner of SARS between 1999 and 2009 was a very strategic one, particularly because 1999 was a very important year for the African National Congress and the people of this country. Because prior to that, we had a government of national unity, where the ANC led with other opposition parties. But from 1999, that was the period where the mettle of the African National Congress was tested. Because the ANC had to lead alone. It had no excuses. And the ANC had an election manifesto that it needed to implement. You know, to implement an election manifesto, we need to check your coffers. We need to check your revenue as to how much cash you have as a country. Because people do not relate SARS to the election manifesto. Because you can come up with all the promises and commitments, but fail to implement them for the failure of collecting the revenue. So Pravin Gordhan played that role. He collected the revenue for the country to assist the African National Congress to implement its Freedom Charter and to implement its election manifesto. And he did not only do that. During that period, the country was still paying the apartheid debt because the apartheid regime had squandered the resources of this country. So Pravin Gordhan continued to play a role to assist the country to completely pay off the apartheid debt, which we paid off in August 2001. So besides being oppressed by the apartheid prior 1994, Pravin Gordhan continued to pay the apartheid debt so that the country could be an apartheid debt-free country. Comrade Pravin, to us, remains an epitome of a true, tried and tested leader. Each time you are tested as a leader or as an ordinary member of the ANC, you are expected to pass the test. Comrade PG went through a series of trials and tribulations, and each time he was tested, he passed the test. Today, the ANC achieved below 50%, both nationally and provisional, due to leaders whom we refer to as tried and tested too early. They were tried and tested, but when it got too hot in the kitchen, they broke. They failed the test. They then started attacking the ANC and the Alliance for their failure. But Comrade PG stood the test of time. He continued to be a tried and tested leader of the African National Congress until his last day on earth. Hence, we are here as Sanko and the Alliance to say, fare thee well, loyal cadre of the movement. Amandla.
Siyabonga kakhulu kunobhala. Let's welcome the chairperson of COSATU.
Mandla. Viva the Alliance, viva. Long live the anti-spirit of Comrade Gordhan, long live. Thank you very much, Comrade Chair, Deputy Chair of the ANC, who is presiding in this program. Let me greet the leadership of the movement from the National Office, Comrade Pejani and Comrade Luandle in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, the leadership of the Alliance, the family of Comrade Gordhan, friends and all other comrades that are here. Thank you. Comrades, in the interest of time, we don't intend to belong here, but as COSATU in KwaZulu-Natal, we dip our flag, we fly our flag low in honor of this fallen cadre of our revolution, Comrade Pravin. We say this because Pravin Gordhan himself was once a worker. We know that he did not just start where he is, but he started as a worker was employed, he suffered the pain and the brutality of the employers of this country. We equally know that after that, he went on to support the struggle for the liberation of our people in this country. What also is important to us is that here is a man who knows no race but human race. He's a man who supported all people who were fighting injustices of apartheid regime in this country. He fought against the supremacy of the white regime, but he also fought against corruption when it was practiced by some of our comrades. We see a man who has built SARS that today all of us know that you can doubt all other institutions of government, but you can never doubt the effectiveness of SARS. If you want to do that, don't comply and see what will happen to you. But Comrade Gordhan also, as a Minister of Finance, he made sure that the finances of this country were properly managed. We are seeing a man here who sacrificed his life for the benefit of all the people of this country. We are excited to have walked with him amongst us. But we are saying to all of us as comrades, friends and relatives that are here today, let us, in the name of Comrade Gordhan, try to emulate him. Try to do the good things that he has done. Even if it means we're losing some of our friends, so be it, comrades. Comrade Gordhan was a humble servant of the people. A comrade who, where he walked, you cannot find any trace of corruption. Comrade Gordhan, we have never heard of him doing that. Therefore, comrades, as Comrade Mac Maharaj was talking here to us today, that we know why some people feel the way they feel about him. Because Comrade Gordhan was saying no to the wrongdoings of this country. And we have seen that. As we rebuilt the ANC, Comrade Loandle, because we want you to continue to be in power, because we know the principles of the African National Congress and the purposes of this organization. We want you to continue to lead our society and provide services to our people. As we do that, we want to call on everyone, everywhere where you are deployed, to work as if it's your last day in the office today. We want to call on you, comrades, everyone here, to respect the resources of this country, especially when you are entrusted with the resources that are meant to transform this country and to service our people. Please do so, comrades. And let us be humble to the nation and be humble to the people that elect us here. And try and live the life that our people will be saying, indeed, we deployed this cadre here, and he has not stolen our resources, has actually made sure that the resources that are meant for us are with us. With that, we are saying, fare thee well, brother, Comrade Pravin. Amanda, thank you very much.
Long live the Alliance, long live. Long live the spirit of Comrade Pravin Gordhan, long live. Amandla. Comrade Vani, Prisha, Anisha and the family, comrades and friends, the comrades of the Alliance structures here. I should point out that I walked swiftly from there before I was called to. So not because I want to save time, but because I've added 20 seconds to the time that I've been allocated as negotiated with the two of them. And you'll be surprised to know they are going to give me those 20 seconds. So here it is. Comrades, Pravin Gordhan was many things in many spheres of our struggle and our society. Much of this is well known and has forcefully emerged since he sadly passed away. But what is not enough said is that he was a Marxist, a communist, and from very early in his political life, and he remained so till the very end. even though, as part of the broader National Democratic ANC and as a cabinet minister, he made, as part of these collectives, tactical decisions that seemed far from his communist roots. He certainly wasn't a communist in a rigid ideological sense. He was a pragmatic communist with a keen sense of the balance of forces at a particular time and the tactical choices that needed to be made. He wasn't one to beat his breast and say, I'm a communist, or wear a red shirt as I do now, or put a hammer and sickle on his forehead, which I forgot to do, by the way, Comrade Chair. I left it at home. He was a Marxist in every fiber of his being. He didn't have to display it in overt ways the way we do now. The SACP, in fact, which had its differences with Pravin, said his death is a monumental loss in our statement. And despite the differences between the party and Comrade Pravin when he was Minister of Finance and SOEs, we said in our statement that he remained true to his communist principles. I bring to this memorial service, let me stress, the warmest greetings of the SACP General Secretary, Comrade Solly, who regrettably, Comrade Vani, cannot be here, the Central Committee, and our entire membership. Regrettably, Comrade Solly is not able to be here, but our office bearers will certainly be here tomorrow, and they ask that I especially convey our condolences to the family and to say that he was one of us. We're not claiming it. Whatever the differences we had, it was about tactics. Pravin was a brilliant strategist, astute tactician, an excellent organizer. As a former activist, he impacted on student politics, the NIC, the civic movement, the UDF, the ANC and SACP underground, the post-1990 negotiations for our democracy, the shaping of our final constitution, parliament, cabinet, the SACP Central Committee, and the ANC, among other areas. He was among the younger comrades who, when the NIC was revived, pushed it in the direction of a more mass activist approach. But he quickly, like others, I saw others here who also played a role, including Yusuf Vauda and so on, who said, if you want to work within conservative Indian and so-called colored communities, you can't mobilize like you do in the African areas. You have to focus more on bread and butter issues, housing, water, electricity, rates, rents, and so on. And through that, through mobilizing around that, as Mac and others have said, you make them aware that you need your own elected councillor in a non-racial democracy. What is that if not a materialist method, a Marxist method, a method that says analyze concrete analysis of concrete conditions? He applied this in many ways. In fact, I spoke to Comrade Mac earlier, and I think I have it wrong. But essentially, in 1979, he was amongst those who said, maybe we should consider, for tactical reasons, taking part in the South African Indian Council on the basis of a progressive agenda. That SAIC was an apartheid agenda. Let's go in there and prevent apartheid stooges like Rajvansi and Reddy and so on taking it. Let us take it over and bring it to a halt and so on. Some say he used Lenin's example about how to enter the Duma, which was also in pre-communist Russia, a dead sort of organization. Again and again, we see, without him saying it, that he never abandoned his Marxist views. I will skip all of this because of time. But what I will say was that Pravin was active in the SACP underground in the 80s, and from 1995 to 1998, he was in the Central Committee until he became Commissioner of SARS. Obviously, he had to withdraw from all political organizations then. I have a wonderful anecdote, but I'll leave it out, about why he ended up there, and he was meant to be raising funds for the SACP. Hilarious things like that, but leave that aside, there isn't the time. I'll say this, despite our differences, and I'm drawing to a close, despite our differences on the state-owned entities and what was possible in that time, we didn't agree with him. I need to address in particular SACP members here. There are some of us in the Communist Party that feel he sold out, that he became some sort of agent of monopoly capital, privatizing. That is very crude, comrades. We worked very closely with Comrade Pravin to try to rescue SAA, but more importantly, as Comrade Solly keeps reminding us, not because he's passed away, not because he was about to be passing away. He said to us repeatedly, hey, guys, we worked with a man in dealing with state capture. And time again, we worked with him in preparations for the 2017 ANC conference and so on. So, to our membership of the SACP in particular here, he didn't sell out. He, in fact, in the last 10 years, Comrade Duma, Comrade Mac, because he was in Parliament, as was I, he would meet with me and say, hey, what is happening in China? Aren't they bringing the private sector in? What is Raul Castro doing in Cuba? What's happening in Vietnam? You have to have public-private partnerships, but the key services of water, electricity, and so on will remain primarily in state hands. What is that again? If not a materialist approach to the balance of forces at a particular time and the tactical choices you make. So our differences with him are around tactics. But as we said in our statement 10 days ago, when he passed away immediately, he remained a communist till the end of his life. And that, most importantly, you see, Marxism is not some iron laws of history, as Mac and others will tell you. He's far senior to me as a communist. It's a method. It's a way of seeing society. And in many ways, many of us here are communists, whether we know it or not. Pravin long realized, you can't, Comrade Chairs, I'm about to end. You can't end, apartheid was a form of class exploitation. You can't end apartheid without dealing with the very extreme inequalities in our society. It is very disappointing that the vanguard of the alliance is being chased by the national movement, but I leave you with this one thing. Comrades, he knew that unless we reduce the extreme inequalities, this non-racial democracy will not work. So in a variety of ways, let's give memory to him in practice. Whether you're a doctor, you can give free services to the poor. If you're a teacher, do extra classes for the poor. If you're a social worker, work an extra hour. That is the lesson the Communist Party wants to convey to you. Amanla! Long live the spirit of Comrade Pravin Gordhan, long live! Viva the Alliance, viva!
Viva, Comrade Karim, viva! Clearly, comrades, if we didn't give Comrade Karim 5 minutes, he was going to take 30. He's a professor though, so we understand. My comrades, what's on there? Thank you very much, Comrade Makosi, for representing me as a vocally challenged person. Comrades, let's welcome Comrade Sibongile Pesani, who is an NEC NWC member of the African National Congress, also a deployee in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, and he is here to give us a message from the ANC. Comrade Pesani.
Long live the indomitable, undying, infatigable spirit of Comrade Pravin Gordhan. Long live. Amandla. Thank you very much, Program Directors, Comrade Nomagogo Smilane, the Deputy Provincial Chairperson in KwaZulu-Natal, and Comrade Mevi Govenda, our veteran, the member of the Veterans League. Greetings to the family of Comrade Pravin Gordhan, in particular Umama Vanita and the daughters. And I must also pass greetings to the NEC members who are here, the provincial chairperson, Comrade Duma, officials in the province and all PC members, the leadership of the South African Communist Party present here, leadership of COSATU, leadership of SANCO, the ANC Veterans League, and all our stalwarts, the ANC Women's League, the ANC Youth League that is here, and all activists from the MDM structures, those who shared trenches with Comrade Pravin Gordhan in the NIC, from the TIC, and also in the UDF. The ministers and deputy ministers who are here, the senior public servants that are here, leaders of various faiths, comrades and friends. And let me hasten to say protocol observed in case there are those I have not been able to mention. A week ago on Saturday, I was in Mchunu region conducting a political class. In that political class, I asked all those who attended, about 130 of them, a number of questions that they should write. And they wrote those, they answered those questions. One of the questions was, who is a leader in the ANC, who's your role model locally? That is in Mchunu, in the region of Herigwala. And all of them actually answered the question, and I asked for those papers. During the week, as I analyzed the papers, went through those papers, the name of Pravin Gordhan on that question appeared, whereas the question was about a local leader in Mchunu. That tells us a lot about the hero we are about to pay respect here today. On behalf of the National Executive Committee of the ANC, let me express and pass words of our deepest condolences, our sincere sympathies to the family, Umama Vanita Ratu and the daughters Anisha and Praisha, and the broader family and friends. We dip our revolutionary banner to salute a veteran of our organization, a veteran of our movement, for we know his contribution to the liberation struggle and his sterling work in deepening our democracy. We have no iota of shame to declare that Comrade Pravin Gordhan, to declare him as a revolutionary par excellence. It is indeed true. It is indeed true that this is a great loss to the family, and equally, this movement has been robbed of a cadre and revolutionary activist of note. No amount of words can express the pain of this loss and its effect. The youth of this country, the youth of our movement, has been robbed of a fearless mentor whose wisdom would empower and enrich those willing to learn. His generation and fellow veterans have also been robbed of moments of reminiscing in joy the days gone by. There is no doubt that the broader liberation movement has been robbed of a cadre with attributes, skills, and expertise that are needed in these trying moments of our movement. This moment begs us to reflect in earnest about a man that this organization knows so well. It begs us to inform ourselves about moments we are facing today. It is a moment that that summons us to intensify the renewal of our movement. We make these exhortations because they define and characterize Comrade PG, as we fondly called him. Let me hasten to reflect on some incidents of a few days ago by inviting Victor Hugo, a French writer of centuries ago, on similar occasion in memory of another prolific writer, Voltaire. Victor Hugo says, and I quote, "On his deathbed, he had, on the one hand, the acclaim of contemporaries and of posterity. On the other, the triumph of hooting and of hate which the implacable past bestows upon those who have combated it. He was more than a man, he was an age. He had exercised a function and fulfilled a mission. He had been evidently chosen for the work which he had done by the supreme will, which manifests itself as visibly in the laws of destiny as in the laws of nature," close quote. Comrade PG is a congressman who defied death when he was still young and energetic. He refused to succumb to the chains of repression. He allowed his mind to transcend the windowless walls of prison. Therefore, he was not defined by the challenges he overcame, but by what he did for humanity to thrive. In fact, the death-defying character of Comrade PG only explains his resolve to apply his skills and expertise to better lives of our people. The struggle refined, chiseled, and sharpened Comrade PG. Consequently, he excelled in every assignment of his deployment. He retooled the South African Revenue Services to unprecedented levels. As a true cadre of our movement, he was unfailing in learning and thus gained the requisite technical skills which are rare to many of us today. This made him a knowledgeable public servant with deep sense of clarity of the South African vision for the future. Comrade Pravin was a public servant who understood the Freedom Charter beyond political rhetoric. He displayed his aversion for slogans through performing excellently in areas that demanded technical administrative prowess. Clearly, he paid attention to detail to a point of being pedantic. He was clinical and meticulous in executing his assignments as a bureaucrat. Through his excellent performance, the cadre policy of the ANC resonated and was accepted and did not earn a badge of negativity. As a finance minister, he enabled the democratic state to navigate testing situations thoughtfully and with ingenuity. In local government, he left no stone unturned to assert injunctions that sought to turn municipalities for the better. The era of back to basics cemented his intellectual prowess, his abilities and capabilities. He was a persistent character who never got tired of thinking. He displayed this character when he was assigned and deployed as minister in the public enterprises. Many of these entities were mired in and marred by corruption. Comrade Pravin was addicted to finding innovative ways to overcome challenges. As a revolutionary activist, Pravin Gordhan's heart and soul were always at the right place at the right time, meaning to always serve the people of this country unreservedly. Personally, I had many brief moments. For instance, I also served with him in the Finance Committee of the ANC. These brief moments were robust moments with him, especially in the line of duty. He always struck me as a very responsible minister and never avoided issues brought to his attention. In his assertiveness, he was also capable of mellowing into humility to a younger soul like myself. His assurances and his assurances to resolve challenges reminded me of one writer who said, and I quote, "The smile is wisdom. It disquiets the oppressor and it reassures the oppressed," close quote. As a political activist, a bureaucrat, and a politician in various ministries, Comrade PG remained a strong and a close friend of excellence. This is consistency, one of the defining characteristics, one of the defining attributes of an activist, a cadre, and a revolutionary professional. It is a well-known fact that at a personal level, Comrade Pravin was equally a resolute person. His measured tone and cadence were unrelenting in articulating his strong views and strong beliefs. His unassuming character made him a student of life to the end because he left nothing to chance. His intellectual temperament was always in tune. Therefore, his aversion to mediocrity, laziness, pitted him against fakes and underachievers. Another defining attribute of people addicted to excellence is intolerance to banal approaches to issues. These achievers are intolerant to lack of dedication and commitment to the task at hand. Yes, they can be very difficult in that sense. This also came out in Comrade Pravin's interaction with many of us. This is an attribute that is often mischaracterized as arrogance, especially to those without courage for self-introspection. We are unapologetically declare that Comrade Pravin Gordhan was excellence personified. In spite of, and despite all these authentic accolades, Comrade Pravin was not perfect, nor a saint. He was a human being to the fullest. However, in his imperfections, he carried himself with dignity and integrity, and always as a loyal member of the African National Congress. He understood the essence and substance of the ANC's oath, which states that as a member of the organization, he will defend the unity, integrity, and its principles. In addition, he had internalized the ANC's oath, which states that a member should combat any disruption to the organization. His stance against corruption and state capture was extraordinarily unwavering. His intolerance for poor governance and corruption is at the heart of some of the toxic commentary that we saw and heard on social media during the last few days. Comrade PG called us to join the dots because he knew the stubbornness and sophistication of perpetrators of malfeasance. At this point, let me borrow from what President Tambo said at the occasion of receiving a Jawaharlal Nehru Award on behalf of Nelson Mandela, who was still in prison around 1979-1980. He said the following about Madiba, open quotes, "For more than 18 years, he has traveled and appeared nowhere. His voice remained unheard and his views unexpressed. In that time, momentous world events have occurred sufficient to put into complete oblivion anyone not involved into current of developments," close quote. For the purpose of this occasion, let me hasten to say that for a lifetime, Pravin Gordhan will travel and appear nowhere. As the ANC ventures into a new era, we dare not forget what PG and his generation fought for. In his honor, let us immortalize Comrade Pravin Gordhan through a true renewal of the African National Congress. Let us rebuild the ANC through activists who have clarity of what it means to serve people of this country and the continent. Activists who are built and produced by the struggles of the people. The ANC of activists will be the one that feels the pulse of society at every turn. Let us rebuild the ANC that will combat this pervasive tendency of acquiring positions at all costs, a tendency that manipulates organizational processes, a tendency that manipulates the youth through money for support, a tendency that fails to empower young people through just buying a book. Younger leaders like me and many others should embrace political apprenticeship, which is mentoring in the course of shaping the future for this country. This political apprenticeship is not a journey to stardom and celebrity status. It is about appreciating that the present is an account of our history and an indelible experience of sacrifice. The present is constructed on the shoulders of giants. To understand and internalize this is the step in the right direction. Therefore, to mock and ridicule the experienced and their wisdom is a path of mediocrity and a foundation of mediocrity and a step to nowhere. Comrades and friends, renewal of the ANC should rid us all of a practice that despises political mentoring. The know-it-all among some of us can only produce political offense. As we immortalize Comrade Pravin Gordhan, let us not allow the ANC to become a big political orphanage. In immortalizing Comrade Pravin Gordhan, let us rebuild an ANC that has leaders who immerse themselves with substance to the service of others. I mean leaders with leadership. Leadership is not a position. Leadership is a behavior and conduct. This conduct is about visionary leadership. If we do so, we will avert the dangers of one scholar called Roberto Mangabeira Unga says it is routine without reason. Let us renew and rebuild the African National Congress that has integrity to inspire every young person and every patriot who have skills to take this country forward. We should be an exemplary ANC whose prestige is undoubted. In this regard, we cannot be wanting on the issue of ethical leadership. We should remember that ethical leadership is behavior that is premised on principle. Comrades, as I'm about to conclude, let me say, the sun has set on the life of a true activist who served this country with distinction. We should not fear the nightmare that accompanies the dark night. Rather, we should be inspired that the first rays of the coming tomorrow will propel us into a better day. Comrade Pravin is entering a journey of being a worthy ancestor of this movement. Lala Ngokolo, long live the spirit of Comrade PG. Long live. Amandla. Sekudala uzabala. Sekudala uzabala. Comrade Pravin Gordhan ngawulale ngoxolo. Pravin Gordhan ngawulale ngoxolo. Sekudala uzabala. Sekudala uzabala. Amanda. Thank you.
Thank you, Comrades Bongile. I now want to call upon our NEC member, who also has had a relationship with Comrade Pravin when he was much younger and was involved in work in Namontville and in the UDF. Let me call upon Comrade Becky Kele to deliver the vote of thanks.
Shosholoza thatha induku zakho oyokuzwa ngathi masekulungile. Shosholoza thatha induku zakho uyokuzwa ngathi masekulungile. Wakhalumalani ekhalepito ethi kuyashisa ngenxa yalomkhonto. Wakhalumalani ekhalepito ethi kuyashisa ngenxa yalomkhonto. Amanda. Thank you very much, Chairperson. The leadership that is here, my job is very limited. Just few things. Chair, I just want to urge the leadership, Babu Mchomben, that we'll have to talk about Pravin as one of the pillars that work hard on the non-racialism, was a key element, especially in this province. This was one province that had a lot of brutality with the system of Bantustan. Well, some people died heroes and people forgot what they did to this province. But that's fine. We'll have to talk about Pravin, who made a lot of contribution. Secondly, Pravin is one person that plotted a serious outcome as a positive outcome after the brutal murder of Mamu Mxenge. When Mamu Mxenge died, Pravin led to say, how are we converting this situation to the best? By that time, the politicization of the townships of eThekwini expanded. It was not just minimal to few townships. Places like Umlas and other places, we worked hard for those things to happen. Pravin was one of those people. But I don't want to talk about Pravin at the later stage, because that later stage is where most people, they concentrate. They don't know when he was young, when he was younger, when he was a plant that has produced the tomato that you have seen, how much he contributed. There was one thing he was notorious of. He wanted us to work on weekends. I don't know why. He just wanted us to work on weekends. When every young people went for weekend and all that, he would call us to Gandhi Center and all other centers that we did not know. We'll sit there, and the guy had a very fine mind. Pravin had a fine mind. Maybe that's why when the rand fell, he had to be brought on. There was a weekend where the rand fell like water. Pravin had been brought on to save the rand. I remember that Pravin, when he was fired, he was called back towards airport, en route to airport, with the security intelligence, with the intelligence report that was written on end, and he was fired. Pravin. Thank you very much, those that have led us on these activities. Kathrata Foundation, thank you very much. You have been really good to lead us on this one, and you have been active the very same minute it happened. You have led, even before it really happened. You have put Pravin on the map. Didn't need much of it to be put on the map, but you have really worked on it. Thank you very much. The province of KZN, thank you very much. Bob Pesan on behalf of the NEC, thank you very much. The management of this place, thank you very much. All those that they work with PG, I can see the colleagues, Derek Haneko. When I first heard the name of Haneko, I tell you, Haneko ANC. But you can find it was Haneko in ANC. Thanks, Muti. And those that they work to shape the finances and the SARS as it is today. So speak about the government party. We'll have to come back and speak more about Pravin. Very little has been said. If you know Pravin, we have met in this hall many times, by the way. We have been in this hall many times. And all that. Thank you very much. But the real people that we want to thank are the family of Pravin. Mommy, daughters, partners, and everybody, thank you. They say the higher you go, the colder it becomes. But in a military way, the higher you go, you are most exposed target. So I think Pravin was at the level where it was an exposed target. You can't be there and you're not exposed. I'll be very much surprised if everybody has really sang praises for Pravin. And I would not have loved it. I would not have loved it if everybody had spoken well for Pravin, which means there would be something wrong with him. When you are a person and everybody sing praises for you, there's something wrong with you. Somebody must say something good, somebody must say something bad. When everybody says something good now, wrong. Check yourself. So Pravin really gets what he deserves. That they say bad things, those that are bad, they must say bad things. Those that are good, they must. So it can't be everybody singing praises for Pravin and we all be happy about it. So good. One last point on this one. I didn't hear anybody talking about Pravin and underground work. Comrade Maharaj. That guy was big on underground. There are people that we know today that they were really taken by him even across the borders. The excellence of logistics, of everything that he put there. Pravin was a complete rounder. He was a complete all-rounder. He did all possible what a human being could have done. And indeed, that's why today, those that they know Pravin, they will sit here and listen to those that talk a lot of nonsense. They are right to talk that nonsense. They must stay with their nonsense. But it's some of us who know who Pravin is, the story has not been told. It will be told the other day. The cadres of the ANC, the members of the ANC, the Women's League, Abo Mama, Kokstad, Jabulile Mfana, Congress, Congress. Bonke abantu sebaba ezinye izinto lesingazazi. Hlala uCongress kuze kube njalo. Ngiyabonga boSherman. Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Siyabonga.
Thank you very much, Magai, for a vote of thanks. Comrades, we have reached the end of our program. Indeed, Comrade Pravin made a call. Amandla? Comrade Pravin made a call for a reset of values during his final days. All of us are requested to do so. I would request the leadership to just go and accompany the family so that they get an opportunity to greet Auntie Vani as she is leaving. Sesiqedile ke kodwa comrades, siyabonga kakhulu, siyabonga ukuparticipate. Iso shebe sihamba nalo. Iso shebe sihamba nalo. Liwelela. 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 Iso shebe sihamba nalo. Iso shebe